There are moments in politics that stop you cold. Moments where you watch something unfold on a world stage and you think, did that really just happen? Did the President of the United States just struggle through a pre-written, pre-planned, carefully scripted speech honoring a foreign king and still couldn't pull it off? Because that's exactly what happened. Donald Trump stood before King Charles of Great Britain in front of cameras broadcasting to the entire world and visibly, undeniably, painfully struggled to read words off a piece of paper. Words someone else wrote, words he had in front of him, and he still couldn't do it. This isn't a partisan attack. This is what we all watched with our own eyes. And given that he has 3 more years left in his term, we need to talk about it. Seriously, soberly, and honestly. Now, before we get into the footage and the data, if you find this video valuable and you want to help this channel keep doing this kind of work, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, and ring that alert bell. It genuinely makes a difference. All right, let's get into it. Political media journalist Aaron Rupar, who, let's be honest, suffers through more Trump footage than any human being should have to, clipped several moments from this speech, and his commentary was pointed. He noted that in the entire history of speeches being read directly off a sheet of paper, nobody has worked harder at reading a speech off paper than Donald Trump did in that room, and still struggled. Hard, in real time, visibly. There's no other way to describe it. Here's what Trump said during the speech, and listen to the delivery as much as the content. Majestic inheritance. Their veins ran with Anglo-Saxon courage. Their hearts beat with an English faith in standing firm for what is right, good, and true. In recent years, we've often heard it said that America is merely an idea. But the cause of freedom did not simply appear as an intellectual invention of 1776. The American founding was the culmination of hundreds of years of thought, struggle, sweat, blood, and sacrifice on both sides of the Atlantic. Now read that back. That's not complicated language. That's ceremonial speech, the kind of polished, formal prose that any president should be able to deliver cleanly, and Trump could barely get through it, halting, stumbling, working through every sentence like it was an obstacle course rather than a script. And this is exactly why jokes like Jimmy Kimmel's land the way they do. The joke that caused so much controversy wasn't about violence or harm. It was about the visible, undeniable emotional distance between these two people. The perception that Melania tolerates her husband rather than loves him, that whatever affection exists between them is performative, transactional, and cynical. And when Trump tries to be charming and she stares back like she's waiting for a bus, King Charles, sitting there clearly thinking, "Move on, mate," it only reinforces that perception. Again, one more clip from that speech. Trump was discussing King Charles's upcoming historic address to a joint session of Congress, the first British monarch ever to do so. And he said, quote, "I was thinking of going, but they said, I don't know, that might be a step too far. I would love to go." He wanted to say address and just couldn't get there. That's the pattern. He can't access simple vocabulary, pre-written words on paper in front of him, and the words don't come out right. Now, here's what makes this particularly striking for those of us who remember Trump before he ran for office. He was a fixture on late-night television. He appeared on Larry King, on Conan O'Brien, in dozens of interviews over the years. Go back and watch footage of Trump from 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, even 2016. The difference is staggering. He was never eloquent. Nobody's arguing that. He was never Abraham Lincoln. But he was sharper, more agile, more cognitively fluid. The decline from 2016 to now is not subtle. It is not a matter of interpretation. It is documented, observable, and accelerating. And that is a serious problem for a sitting president with 3 years left in office. And here's the thing. The American people see it too. This isn't just a liberal talking point. This isn't cable news spin. Former Biden press secretary and MSNBC host Jen Psaki raised the concern plainly. A majority of Americans now say they do not believe Donald Trump has the mental capacity to be president. And the poll that confirmed this, it wasn't conducted by CNN or MSNBC. It was conducted by Fox News. That's right. Fox News asked voters directly, do you think Donald Trump has the mental soundness to serve effectively as president? and 55% said no. 55% of voters surveyed by Fox News and said, Donald Trump does not have the mental soundness to effectively serve as president. That is not a fringe opinion anymore. That is a majority position, even among the audience most favorable to him. And Fox News isn't alone in finding this. A recent YouGov poll found that 48% of Americans believe Trump is experiencing either modest or significant cognitive decline. When broken down further, 35% say the decline is significant. Another 13% say it's modest. Only 32% say there's no cognitive decline at all. So a clear plurality doesn't just think he's declining, they think it's serious. And on physical decline, the numbers aren't much better. 29% say his physical decline is significant, 22% call it modest, only 27% say they see no physical decline. These aren't fringe numbers, these aren't outliers. This is the American public collectively looking at the same thing and drawing the same conclusion. Something is wrong, it's getting worse, and it matters enormously given the office he holds. But here's what I find both comforting and deeply unsettling at the same time. Because the same polling that captures the cognitive concern also reflects something broader about how Americans now view Trump's character. The YouGov data asked people which words they'd use to describe him. 52% said dangerous, 47% said corrupt, 45% said bold, okay, fine, but then 44% said cruel, 43% said racist, 41% said out of touch and divisive. Meanwhile, intelligent, only 31%, honest, 22%, steady, 16%, inspiring, 16%. So the words that describe character flaws, dangerous, corrupt, cruel, racist, land far more than words describing strength of character. The virtues barely register. And while that's alarming in one sense, it also tells me that most Americans are not confused about who this man is. They see him clearly. They just haven't always had the political power to stop him. And that's ultimately why this conversation matters beyond the clips, beyond the poll numbers, beyond the awkward moments with Melania and the stumbled words in front of a king. The real issue is this. Joe Biden also faced legitimate questions about cognitive decline. That was a real fair debate, but Biden's baseline was a smart, experienced, structurally competent man surrounded by honest, qualified advisors. Even on his worst days, Biden was a known quantity with a functional team. Trump, on a good day, operates far below that standard, and his good days are becoming increasingly rare. His bad days are becoming increasingly alarming. We are watching a man in visible decline hold the most powerful office on the planet. That is the reality. And the American people, even the ones watching Fox News, are starting to say it out loud. So should we. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear from you.